You're deep in the woods, miles from civilization, and the sun is dipping below the horizon faster than you expected. Your phone's battery is dead, your compass is spinning wildly, and then you hear it. A low, guttural whisper that sounds like your name being called from the trees. That's exactly what happened to me on that fateful hike, and what followed was a night of terror that I'll never forget. I survived a haunted forest alone, and this is my true story. It all started last summer when I decided to take a solo backpacking trip to clear my head after a rough breakup. I'd heard about Blackwood Forest in the Pacific Northwest, rumors of it being cursed by loggers who vanished in the 1800s, their spirits still wandering the trails. I laughed it off as urban legends, the kind of stuff people share around campfires. Armed with a map, some energy bars, and a sense of adventure, I set out at dawn, planning a quick day hike. The forest was beautiful at first, towering pines, moss-covered rocks, and the fresh scent of earth after rain. I felt alive, snapping photos and humming to myself as I ventured off the main path to explore what looked like an old, overgrown trail. As the hours passed, I realized I'd wandered farther than intended. The trees grew denser, blocking out the sky, and the path seemed to twist in ways that didn't match my map. I checked my phone. Signal was spotty, but I managed to pull up GPS for a moment. It showed I was heading north, but something felt off. Birds stopped chirping, and the air turned unnaturally still. That's when I first noticed the carvings on the trees, strange symbols like runes or warnings scratched into the bark. I shrugged it off as vandalism, but a chill ran down my spine. I decided to turn back, but every direction looked the same. Panic started to creep in as the light faded. By dusk, I was officially lost. I tried to stay calm, remembering survival tips from videos I'd watched, build a shelter, conserve energy. I found a small clearing and gathered branches for a lean-to, but as I worked, I heard rustling in the bushes. At first, I thought it was a deer or a fox, but then came the whispers. Soft at first, like wind through leaves, but they grew clearer. Leave or join us. My heart pounded. I spun around, flashlight in hand, but saw nothing. Was it my imagination? Exhaustion? Playing tricks? I told myself yes and hunkered down, starting a small fire with matches from my pack. The flames danced, casting eerie shadows that seemed to move on their own. As night fully enveloped the forest, the temperature dropped sharply. I wrapped myself in my jacket, staring into the fire, trying to ration my thoughts. That's when I saw the first figure, a shadowy outline at the edge of the clearing, tall and humanoid, but distorted, like it was made of smoke. It didn't move closer, just watched. I yelled out, "Who's there?" But my voice echoed back distorted, mocking me. Fear turned to terror. I grabbed a burning stick and waved it, but the figure dissolved into the darkness. Minutes later, footsteps circled my camp, heavy, deliberate, crunching leaves, but leaving no prints when I checked in the morning light. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every snap of a twig made me jump. Around midnight, the whispers intensified. They weren't just words anymore. They were stories, fragments of voices overlapping, talking about accidents, disappearances. One voice, a woman's, sobbed about being trapped after a fall. Another, a man's, growled about betrayal by his crew. I realized these might be the ghosts of those lost loggers, reliving their fates. My mind raced. Was Blackwood really haunted? I'd dismissed the legends, but now they felt real. I tried to move, to find a way out, but the forest seemed alive, roots tripping me, branches snagging my clothes like hands pulling me back. I stumbled upon an old cabin around 2 a.m., half collapsed and covered in vines. Desperate for shelter, I pushed inside. Dust choked the air, and faded photographs on the walls showed stern-faced men with axes. The loggers, I guessed. In the corner, a journal lay open, pages yellowed. I read by flashlight. Entries from 1892 about the watchers in the woods cursing anyone who disturbed the land. As I flipped pages, a cold gust slammed the door shut, and the whispers turned to screams outside. Something pounded on the walls, shaking the structure. I barricaded the door with debris, heart racing, praying for dawn. The pounding stopped after what felt like hours, but then came the visions. Shadows coalesced into faces, pale, hollow-eyed, reaching out. One touched my arm ice cold, and I felt a pull, like my energy draining. I screamed, thrashing, and it vanished. Was I hallucinating from fear and fatigue, or was it real? I clung to sanity by focusing on memories, my family, my dog waiting at home. I whispered affirmations. This isn't real. You'll get out. But deep down, doubt gnawed at me. As the first light of dawn filtered through cracks, the forest quieted. The whispers faded to nothing. I burst out of the cabin, adrenaline surging, and ran blindly towards what I hoped was east. Miraculously, after an hour of scrambling, I hit a road. A passing trucker picked me up, wide-eyed at my disheveled state. I babbled about ghosts. He chuckled nervously, saying locals avoid Blackwood for a reason. At the hospital, doctors chalked it up to dehydration and exposure, but I know what I experienced. Looking back, that night changed me. I research every trail now, respect the unknown. Blackwood's curse? Maybe it's just nature's way of warning us. But if you're thinking of hiking alone, heed this. Some places aren't meant to be explored. I survived, but barely, and I'll never set foot in those woods again. If you've had a similar encounter, share in the comments. Thanks for watching. Hit that like and subscribe for more true stories. Stay safe out there.